Australia, we will talk about the major physical features of Australia, okay? So it is the most flat and the most low-lying continent in the world. Its mean elevation is only 300 meters above sea level. 5% of the continent is only more than 600 meters above sea level. Tachara purai is at sea level mostly. So it doesn't have any high mountain ranges. Nah, it has any like the Andes of South America or Himalayas of Asia. It doesn't have anything. So what are the 6 main physical divisions of it? Western Plateau, Central Lowland, Eastern Highlands. But there are no lofty mountains, only highlands. The Great Artesian Basin, that is very, very important. Great Barrier Reef and the Rift Valley of Australia. So these are the main physical divisions of Australia. One by one, we will come to each of them. So first we'll talk about the Western Plateaus. Now the plateau has an undulating surface. Its height is just 360 meters above sea level, not more than that. And this plateau covers 1/3 of the continent only. And some of the mountain ranges located in the Western Plateau are like Musgrave, Berkeley, Tableland mostly. Now, since it's a plateau, it receives scanty rainfall. It has led to the occurrence of, and that's why there are vast deserts here. The Great Victorian Desert, the Great Sandy Desert, the Gypsum Desert, all are the famous deserts of this Western Plateau. Then comes the Central Lowland. Central Lowland hoche from Gulf of Carpentaria se lekar southern coast of the continent tak. And its northern part is drained by rivers like Flinders and all. Two of the largest drainage basins of Australia are here. Kya? What are they? They're very, very important. Murray-Darling Basin. You have done now that Murray-Darling on map we did though that day. Murray and Darling, no? Oh. Which drains the southern part of the continent. And then the Eyre Basin, which forms a large region of Lake Eyre, which is inland drainage basin. And the lowest point of Australian continent is the Lake Eyre, which with its depth reaching about 15 meters below sea level. And several small rivers also, because it's a very low-lying area, many rivers flow into it. This forms the inland drainage basin. The eastern, now we come to the Eastern Highlands. The Eastern Highlands include the Great Dividing Range. They run parallel to the Pacific coast. They run parallelly. The Great Dividing Range extends from the Cape York Peninsula se lekar it comes to the state of Queensland or Tasmania. Now the average altitude of the highland, what are you doing? Of the highland is about 900 meters and the peaks are low in altitude. Now the southern part of the Great Dividing Range forms the Australian Alps form करता है with Mount Kosciuszko, that is the highest peak of this region. And ये जो slopes है ना, always they are towards the Pacific Ocean. So in the east they are very steep. Then comes the Great Artesian Basin, it is very important. It lies between the central and the eastern highlands. This is the largest and the deepest artesian basin in the world. And it is formed on a basin of, its base hai, it's sandstone only, okay? And it is covered by various marine sedimentary rocks. And it is a major source of water in this dry, because this area is relatively very dry. And the major source of water is the artesian basin. Wells are bored inside the ground, groundwater rushes up. Due to high water pressure, water does not need to be pumped out. You don't have to pump it out. They come on their own. This water is very useful for cattle rearers who are staying in this dry region. We are explaining the Eastern Highlands. Now, Eastern Highlands include the Great Dividing Range, which runs parallel to the Pacific coast. So, the Eastern Highland runs parallel to which coast? Pacific coast. And the Great Dividing Range जो है ना, it extends कहाँ से? It extends from Cape York Peninsula से लेकर Cape York Peninsula is in the state of Queensland to Tasmania. It extends, and its average altitude is 900 meters. The peaks are also very low in altitude, not that much. And the southern part of the Great Dividing Range forms the Australian Alps, with Mount Kosciuszko is the highest peak there. That is also only 228 meters, much lower in comparison to our Everest, The slopes towards the Pacific Ocean are usually steep slopes. Then we come to the, yesterday we did though, till Great Artesian Basin, we did, yes, Anna. So we will do from Great Barrier Reef. Located on the northeastern coast of Australia, the Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest coral reef. The coral islands, coral reefs, it's very famous. So it's a very spectacular thing. It stretches over 2,300 kilometers, and even if you are on outer space, you can view this coral reef. The reef is formed of what? Corals. Coral হচ্ছে পলা. আমরা we use Bengalis use, you see, red color का चूड़ी पहनते हैं ना हम लोग, शाखा पौला. So पौला is coral, actual पौला. अभी तो प्लास्टिक का सब पहन लेते हैं. The reef is formed of skeleton remains. देखो ये जो minor marine small marine organisms है, coral polyps, ये लोग जब मर जाता है तो वो लोग का skeleton goes to the rocks, and that leads to the formation of coral island that live in shallow, and these corals, they live in shallow, warm, tropical waters में ही रहते हैं. So when they die, their skeletons cling to the rock and they form the coral reefs. It is called the Great Barrier Reef also. Why? Because it acts as a barrier to the movement of the ships also. Now, the region is rich in soft, हम लोग पता ही चल रहा है कि it's full of corals. Soft and hard corals, jellyfish, sharks, whales, fishes, mollusks and all. Then comes the Rift Valley of Australia. That is also very important. So we have seen that the Great Barrier Reef, and you have seen why is it called so also. And now we are coming to the Rift Valley. Now the Rift Valley is located in the southern part of Australia, and it has very many lakes in it, and like Lake Torrens and all, there are various lakes in it. A Rift Valley कैसे formed होता है? Due to the fissures or cracks in the Earth's crust. So it causes a deep fault in the and the valleys are formed between two raised sections are there, and in between that submerged form is called in between the two raised sections, the faults are called the valleys, and they are called the rift valleys.